Hello, 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 and welcome to today's LinkedIn Live with me, Shyam. It's 7:01 p.m. on 16th of March 2022, and I'm just delighted to be here. This topic is something I've been thinking about, talking about for a while now. I've been giving these talks and helping my clients through interviews for quite a while. I've just completed 500 hours, significantly more than that, I think, of coaching. I've been keeping track because I've been looking to submit my records for certification, and I realized that I myself had not realized how long I've done this, and I realized there are certain themes that keep coming up in my conversations, interviews, resumes, LinkedIn, networking, influencing, negotiation, communication, all of these things. And I thought, okay, I'm going to start putting these things together for all of you and see if this is of any use. Okay, so here I am. I'm here to help you with my top 10 tips to nail your next interview. Okay, I'm going to go through these one by one, and I'm going to structure them in a certain way. But before I start, I'd love to see who is here. So please say hello in the chat. Just say hello in the comments, and just say hi to me so I can call out a few names. And I'd like to know who's here. LinkedIn's telling me there's 40 plus people here, so I'd like to see a few names in the comments. So just say hi so I can see it, and then when I see it, I'll make a start. But before then, let's hear some music. Excellent. Right. So I can see the comments coming in thick and fast. Thank you. Thank you. Hello. Hi. Wow. Tiffany, John, Srikant, Madhusudan, Sorab, Pandurang, Naomi, Somashekar, Shankar, Anushri. Wow. Fantastic. Thank you, folks. Ajay, Rajdeep, Shashank, Vinayak, Harbaksh, Smita. Hello, everybody. Bhavit. Fantastic. Oh, so nice to have all of you with me. Okie doke. I'm going to keep this crisp to the point. If you have questions, pop them into the chat, into the comments at any time. Hi, Suraj. Hi, Chandrakant. Feel free to just put things into the chat, into the comments as you go along. I'm keeping an eye on things. So if I do that quite a lot today, that's because I'm trying to keep an eye on everything as I go along. But it's my effort to answer your questions and help you with tips throughout the session. Okay, I'm going to do this for about an hour, and I have 10 things to go through with you. And I'm also trying an experiment to see if I can, first of all, be more environmentally conscious, as well as try and make this as kind of tech issue free as possible. Firstly, I'm going to show this and see if you can see this. Yes. Okay. Great. So this is a session in three parts, folks. It's I'm going to talk about what happens before an interview, during an interview, and after an interview. What happens before, during, and after. So this is my way of being environmentally conscious and trying to be a bit tech on the same time. So I'm not going to throw slides at you, but I'm going to show you some key things as I go along so you can follow me. Yeah. Rakesh, hello. Shashank, Vikram, Mohammed, Akib Khan, Dorasani, Abhijit, hi, Suraj, fantastic. All of you. Great to have you. So I'm going to talk to you about 10 tips, but I'm going to split them across what happens before an interview. Remember, prep can make a lot of difference. So I'm going to talk about what happens before, then I'm going to talk about what happens during, and then I'm going to talk about what happens after as well. Because the moment you walk out of that room, the interview is over, there's still something to be done, right? Fantastic. Sushat, hi, hello, welcome for all of you who have joined me. Right. So I'm going to give you not 10 tips, I'm going to give you 10 sure short ways. 10 sure short ways to nail your interview. Okay? 10 sure short ways. First one is this. First one is, I need this to rotate. First one is do your research. Okay? Do your research. What do I mean by that? Um, there's this quote that I was reading. I don't know where I picked it up. Um, Somebody said, I don't remember who said this, but somebody said confidence comes from being prepared. And there's also people who say, luck is basically preparation meeting opportunity. Confidence comes from being prepared, and that's what opens up opportunities for you. Preparation. What do you need to prepare? Three things. First, research the company. Do you know what this organization does? If I start my conversation with you and you're like, I'm not really sure what you do, sorry, not a good start. What does the organization do? What are the company's missions, goals, and values? What do they actually stand for, and what are they trying to get done? Right? Is it been mentioned in recent news? Good reasons, bad reasons? Be aware. Research the company. What is actually going on? Major changes? Maybe you're in marketing and they're launching a brand new product, and maybe there's a good match and you know things about them. Do your research. What is the company culture like? Have you picked up the phone and spoken to somebody who's actually working there? Get a feel for things. How do you even start a conversation at the interview with the hiring manager? Is there something that you could throw out there as being aware of what is going on? First, research the company. Second, what do you research? The team and the role. Who is it you're going to work for? What is going to happen in that group? What are the key markets? What are the key, who are the key players? What are the products and services? If you're going to join a AI software team trying to develop some software for a brand new thing out there, what do you know about it? How much do you know about it? Have you researched it? Do you know at least the little bit they have put on their website, or do you know more about it because you've gone deeper? Not to say you know or don't know your expertise. That is separate. Do you know about them? Right? What are they trying to get done? The role. Who's the hiring manager? What is actually going on? Who are they supplying to? Do you know anything about what they are doing? Go upstream. I understand the team and the role as well. So research the company first, research the team and the role second. Third, what do you research? What do you research? Make it personal. If you can, research the interview panel if possible. And I don't mean in a stalking way. If you have names, go to LinkedIn, get to know them a bit. Where do they work? Where do they study? Who is connected to you? Maybe is it a second level connection, third level connection? If you don't have the names, use LinkedIn search. Go to that organization. If it's a small organization, you're going to find some names and you can get a feel for it. If it's a large organization, try and understand who might be working in that team, right? Get a feel for who's actually there and find out what they might be looking for. What might they be looking for? Research the company, research the team and roles, and research the interview panel. Yeah, sure short way number one. Do your research, know it. If I ask you just before you go into an interview, this I do with my clients, you need to know. You need to tell me a lot that you have picked up about the company, the team, the role, the hiring manager, the people that you're going to work with, and what they're trying to get done. Because bottom line is, if you go to the interview, the people are going to talk to you and try to figure out whether you can help them. Now, unless you know their context very, very well, it's not a great start, is it? Okay, good start. First one was do your research, which is about them. Start with them. Start with what they need. Second is about you. Okay. Second, sure short way number two. Madhusudan says, how to find out what they might be looking for? Aha, excellent question. How do you find out what they might be looking for? The job description is a good start. They're trying to find out what they do. Try to also connect the dots between the job description and what is happening in the market. Yeah. JDs are largely aspirational. If they have called you in to actually do something based on a job description, the job description is largely aspirational. They want to get something done. It is not a role that was played by somebody in the past. It is a role that they want somebody to do in the future, right? Somebody may have done it in the past, but they want somebody new to come and do it, right? So now the question becomes, what do they want to achieve? Connect the dots, do as much research as possible, bring it all together. Yeah. Aha. Kailash says, how to get an interview call if you have just crossed 50. Getting a call itself has become difficult above 50. Kailash, I completely understand. I empathize with you. You have to play to your strengths. And I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. Okay. I will not say it is easy. It is hard out there. Um, stay with me. Stay with me through this session. And I'm hoping that I can help you with some ideas. Yeah. Okay. Shubham says, what do you say when they ask, why do we hire you? We have not reached the interview yet. We are still preparing. Okay. Second, and I'll answer your question. Second, sure short way, be self-aware. Be self-aware. Kailash, you asked a fantastic self-aware question. You are aware of the situation. You are aware of the situation that you are in. Self-awareness, let's define this. Why do I say self-awareness is important so early on? Self-awareness is the ability, and here's my definition for you. It is the ability to take an honest look at your life without attachment of it being right or wrong or judging it in any way. It is first is self-awareness. What is your situation really? No judgment, right or wrong. Why? Because you need to know exactly what is the situation for you. Are you standing on solid ground? Are you in a difficult situation? Do you really need to find something quickly? Need to know what your situation is, and you need to look at it completely honestly. If you are in a tough spot, accept it's a tough spot. If you're doing well, great. If you're leaving a company on a high, fantastic for you. Then you may be in a low pressure situation. Just kind of look around and understand what is going on in the market. If you're trying to leave a company and it's not going very well for you, I empathize with you. I hope you figure things out, but be aware of what is going on with you. Why? You need to have a stable mind in the interview, because as my one of my good friends says, emotions are leaky. Okay, people can see what's going on with you. So be strong, have a strong foundation of where you are, and be aware of the challenges that you're facing. What is a good way to do this? Why there is something going on? Why do I feel bad? Why is this happening to me? Why did he say it is I'm not suitable? Why did I fail? These are not great self-awareness questions. There's a huge amount of research into this. You can research self-awareness, and all self-awareness research that I have read at least says that the best way to be self-aware is to ask what questions. What are the situations that make me feel bad? What do they have in common? How can I address it? What do I need to do to be better in the job? What do I need to address this challenge? What do I need to do to address these specific questions that HR ask? So being self-aware starts with questions that start with the word what. I said too many starts there. Self-awareness starts with questions that start with what, not why. Ask a lot of what questions. Okay. Now, I understand that not all of this is happening in a great place. You might be struggling, you might be really trying to figure this out, and all my positive energy to you. But my sure shot way number 3 is you need to address it. If you're feeling good, fantastic. If you're not feeling good, you have to feel good. You have to find a way to feel great. Sure shot number 3, feel great. You might already be feeling great, and that's very good. If you're in a tough spot and you're really struggling and you're trying to figure things out, you still have to get into that position where you are projecting a confident, calm, composed, and professional manner in the interview. For that, you need to work on yourself. And you know why we're not able to do this as much? I've struggled with it myself. Overthinking, way too much overthinking. Before going into an interview, this is my last step before going into interview. After this, I'm going to go into the interview, and a lot of your questions are already asking me questions on that. Main problem is overthinking. Overthinking, and here's a definition of overthinking for you: the art of creating problems that don't exist. The art of creating problems in our head that don't actually exist. We tend to live here. Okay, we might have a problem, we might have a challenge, but do not overthink. You have to feel great before you go into the interview. It is a responsibility. You are responsible for feeling great before facing somebody and sitting down and talking to them about what you do. Lift up your energy, feel great. And I'll give you a few ideas on how to do this. And by the way, these are not hacks. Okay. I will never say fake it till you make it. I do not adhere to that philosophy. Not fake it till you make it. I was just thinking about this the other day and say, how would I change fake it till you make it? And I realized I prefer face it till you ace it. I don't know if someone said this to me or I came up with it myself. I actually do not honestly know. If you've heard it somewhere, tell me if somebody else has said it. But I feel that face it till you ace it is the philosophy I'd like to come up for you. Not fake it till you make it. None of this is fake. None of this is fake. You gotta feel great. How? There's various ways in people feel calmer. People feel more composed. For me, it's a quick walk, bit of quiet time, reading a book, listening to a podcast, listening to some music, whatever it takes. Become calm. You have to be calm. You cannot be flustered in an interview. You cannot be completely off balance. You got to be composed, you got to be calm, you got to stay positive. How do you do that? Do something fun, find out what you like, do that. I remember when we had our board exams back in 96, my good friend went for swims in the morning, and I was sitting there, reading the books. That didn't help me much, actually. He was in a much more calm state of mind. So last minute interviews are not cramming stuff. Interviews are not about trying to pick up some last minute information. Okay, interviews, you got to be calm, figure out a way that morning, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whenever the interview is, take some time, figure some quiet time out, take some time out, um, compose yourself. Okay. Another thing that I find that is an issue before, and remember, we are still before the interview. We have not yet reached the interview. This is my third sure shot way before the interview, is imposter syndrome. It comes up a lot for us. It comes up for us a lot. Imposter syndrome is when we think we know much less and we are not actually capable and we don't deserve it. They've called you for an interview, right? So they believe there is something in you, right? We need to change the mindset and we need to change the internal self talk from I'm not good enough to they called me for an interview, didn't they? Let me face it. Let me face the interview. Yeah. How to tackle imposter syndrome? Acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. Separate your feeling from the fact. The fact is, they called you for an interview. You do not know anything else. They called you for an interview. So why are we pulling ourselves down? Let's not pull ourselves down, no? Remember what you did well. Remember your successes. Stop comparing and talk to somebody and get your energy up. Yeah. What you know, you know. What you don't know, you don't know. Right? So, third tip was feel great. And some Dipanshu, hi, welcome, welcome, welcome. Madhusudan and Navneet like face it till you ace it. I like it. Use it, face the problem till you ace the problem. Fantastic. Last tip before you go into an interview, please practice. Find someone to practice with. I do mock interviews for all my clients. It is an absolutely amazing thing to actually work through a mock interview with somebody. Take a breath, focus through the issues, keep it short. Yeah. Focus on practicing your answers. Okay. I play music and we're doing some events this weekend for Holi, which is the festival of colors in India. And I know some people outside India have dialed in. So the festival of colors is happening this weekend. And we are doing some music. And the amount of practice we put into music and playing an instrument, I play the drums and things, is incredible. But for some reason, even I've done the same thing, by the way, I turn up at an interview without any practice. Why don't we practice these things? Why can't we sit down with somebody and say, ask me a few questions? I want to see how I come through. You could do it in front of a mirror. I find that a little spooky. I'd rather do it with a friend and take a walk and say, ask me a few questions and see if I can actually answer them. Why not? Why not? Practice it. Find a coach if you'd like. But you can just ask a friend, ask somebody to just kind of ask you a few questions. And first thing, tell me about yourself. Ask that question and see how you react to it and get some feedback. Yeah. So don't do it alone. Get some help. Okay. So sure shot ways 3 is feeling great. So what have I done so far? I've done sure shot 1, way 1 before the interview is do your research. I told you, didn't I? I'm doing the session in 3 parts: before, during, and after. First one was do your research. Then was being self-aware, and the third was you got to feel great. Okay. I did the same thing before this, by the way. I took a walk and had a chat with my children and all of that. I want to feel great before this live session. You deserve it. In the same way, feel great before your interview. That's it. 3, before. Now you're in the interview, you're going into the interview. What's the first thing you do? I have questions. Aha, Kailash has also asked another question. How do you answer if you're having a gap of 6 to 9 months of employment while attending the interview? I'll come to this. I'm still at the start of the interview. The very first thing you do. What is the very first thing you do in an interview? You start the interview, right? What do you do? Sure short way number 4. Sure short way to nail your interview number 4 is nail the start. Nail the start. We all have starting trouble, no? I always think of my car or my sometimes it doesn't start. In the same way, we might have some starting trouble, right? You know what I do? I have a clear script of how I start. Let me try it on you. Hi, I'm Sham Sadasivan. I'm your coach and trainer. I'm here to help you create magic at work. I'm a career coach and I've done over 500 hours of coaching and I've transformed over 100 careers. I am also a trainer and I've developed over 1,000 learners in many multiple corporate settings. I've lived and worked and studied in the US, UK, and India. And I did my degrees from BITS Pilani in India. I did my master's in Arizona and I did my MBA in Cambridge. What else would you like to know about me? And that's it. I didn't time it actually. I should have timed it. You know what? I'm going to do it again and I'm going to time it. You tell me. I'm going to time it in front of you. Where's my stopwatch? Stop. Reset. Time. All right. Here's my timer. Hi, I'm Sham Sadaswan. I'm your coach and trainer. I'm here to help you create magic at work. I'm a career coach and I have coached for over 500 hours and transformed over 100 careers. I'm also a trainer in corporate settings. I've developed over 1,000 learners. I've lived and worked in the US, UK, and India. And I did my degrees engineering in BITS Pilani in India. I did my master's in Arizona, and I did my MBA in Cambridge. What else would you like to know about me? Not bad, huh? How do I focus this? Oh, there you go. 30 seconds. Yeah? Do you have a 30-second intro? I know that was a little quick. And I would change this depending on who is asking me. If I'm talking to a client just for training, I would probably skip a bit about the coaching. If I'm talking only about a coach, I would not do too much about the training. But I will throw in a few things about me that will help them connect with me and create some commonality, right? Where I've lived, where I've worked, what I've done. Nail the start. Work on a 60-second intro. And if you have not got a 60-second intro, here's a template for you. Okay. And I'm pasting it into the comments. Use this 60-second intro format. Is this. I've pasted it into the comments. You can pick it up from there. Here's the 60-second format for you. Work this through, 15 seconds each. Who are you? What do you do? How can I help? And why should I listen to you? Who are you? What do you do? How can you help? And why should I listen to you? Got it? Who are you? What do you do? How can you help? And why should I listen to you? Just practice this. You'll have your 60-second intro. It will start with 3 or 4 minutes, and that's all right. You will cut it down. You will cut it down to 60, or you may even cut it down to 30, like I did. And the more and more you say it, the better it will become. To absolutely nail the start. If you say, hi, tell me a bit about yourself. Here you go. I have a 60-second intro. Have a 60-second intro. Work it through. Get some help. Absolutely nail it. Okay. Nail your start. Next, tell me about yourself. First question they ask in interviews, right? Why do they ask it in the first place? They've seen your CV. They've called you for an interview. By the way, I do it. I've done exactly the same thing. Okay. I've had the CV in my hand and I'm like, say something about yourself to kick us off. What do you do then? You do not read your CV. Okay. You do not read your CV. You try to focus on your value. Stay honest with what you have. Prepare and practice about all of this, right? And you finish with a question. Always finish with a question. Did I ask a question at the end of my intro? I did. What more would you like to know about me? Give them an answer which is specifically tailored to their needs. Focus on what they need to do, right? Make the tell me about yourself about them. If they say tell me about yourself, tell them what you are there to do for them. Yeah. And finish with a question. Always finish with a question, because never take a full stop to what you're saying. Always finish with a question and ask them, hey, what else would you like to know? Is there anything else I'd like to say? Right. Absolutely. Krishna Prasad, yes, they want to know your response and what your attitude is to the question. If you say it's all there in the CV, that's not a good answer. Okay. Tell me about yourself. You've got the CV. What do you? No, that's not going to work. Okay. You got to say something and have a 30-second, 60-second. Don't bore me with a long story starting from where you were born. No. Okay. Don't do that. Aha, I have got questions as well. I'm going to take the questions of very specific questions a little later. Nikhil Mishra, I'm talking about the question you asked me. I'm going to come to these in a second. I am still at nail the start. Okay, I'm still talking about nailing the start. Sure shot way number 4 about nailing the start. Virtual. Let's talk virtual. Let's talk virtual. Everything is happening virtually right now. How do you nail the start in virtual? First of all, you have light. I'll switch off my light. I'll show you how it is without a light. This is me without a light in my face. This is me with a little more light. Again, this is me without the light. This is me with a little more light. Okay, I have a extra light here just to throw light on my face. Be seen, please. I need to see you. I need to know who you are. Second, camera positioning. Yeah, the camera is exactly at this height, in line with your eyes, the top of your nose. You got to have the camera there. Please show a little bit of the top of your body. And here's a bonus tip: show your hands once in a while. There is this inherent mistrust of people who do not show their hands. If I think this goes back to a long time ago when people were carrying like knives and things in their pockets. Like there's this inherent mistrust of people who keep their hands in their pockets or behind their backs. Show your hands once in a while. Not to do this, but I don't know, maybe pick up a pen, take a note, do something. Pick up a glass of water, show your hands. It's less spooky that way. Right, what else on video? Be seen, have some light, have a good audio video system, have a good speaker, have a good mic. I know this is all basic, but the number of times I'm talking to somebody and I can't hear them properly, it's just not okay. It's like turning up in like really dirty clothes at an interview. The new propriety of today is having a good headset and a good mic. So if you don't have that, fix that right now. Like go on Amazon or Flipkart or wherever you buy stuff and do it right now. Okay, that was my sure shot way number 4 of nailing the start. You got to nail the start. You got to make a first impression that is really, really good. I need to be able to see you. I need to be able to hear you. You need to look decent. You need to show me your hands once in a while. Not do that, but show your hands. Yeah, nail the start. Yeah, nail the start was number 4. Ready for number 5? Sure shot way number 4 is nail the start. Now, oops, I'm going the other way. Sure shot way number 5 is join the panel. This is probably my favorite tip. Okay. Sure shot way of nailing the interviews, join the panel. You know what I mean by that? I mean, if you can't beat them, join them. If you can't beat them, join them. Is this thing I read in like a Mickey Mouse cartoon, I think long time ago. I think Uncle Scrooge said it once, that if you can't beat your competition, join the competition. You still make money, because Uncle Scrooge is all about the money, isn't he? If you can't beat them, join them. Right? What do I mean? It's not about a competition with the interviewer. It's not a competition, or if it's not about beating them. The point is this: do you really understand what they're asking? Tell me about your degrees. Tell me about your education. Tell me about your experience. Tell me when you have actually done a session like this, Sham. If someone asks me like this, right? I'm trying to understand why they are asking me that question. What is the question behind the question? Join them. Join the panel that is asking you questions and understand why they are asking that question. For example, Kailash asked, how to answer if you are having a gap of 6 to 9 months of employment while attending the interview. What is the question behind the question, Kailash? Think about that. Why are they worried about this? What is the actual concern? The actual concern is you have a gap. What were you doing there? Were you employed at all? Were you what is going on with you? It is a we are always, what we don't see or what we don't understand scares us, right? As human beings, what we don't understand, we fear, don't we? What we can't see and what we don't understand, we find scary. So help them understand what is going on with you. Show them what you did. If you're planning to take a break now, any of you, please have some way of staying connected. If you took a break, you took a break. That's the truth, isn't it? You took a break. Now you don't have to tell them everything. Maybe it's a very personal reason, maybe whatever is going on, but give them something. Don't just say it's a gap, I'm not going to tell you anything. Give them something, help them understand, right? And if you don't want to say anything, that's totally your call. All I'm saying is try and understand why they are asking that question. Yeah? If they've called you to an interview and they know that there's a gap, They're kind of okay with it. Otherwise, they might not even have called you, right? Try and understand what their real concern is. What are they actually worried about? Yeah. What do I mean by join the panel? I mean, be empathetic. Listen to understand them. Don't listen to respond. Have you heard that old quote? We listen to respond, not listen to understand. So when you ask me a question, I'm like, okay, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? What am I going to say? No, try to understand what they are actually asking you. Yeah. Don't listen to understand. Don't listen to respond. Listen to understand. Okay. Let me give you a few ideas on how to join the panel. Listen actively. What do I mean by listen actively? Nod, shake. Suppose I'm asking, suppose I'm asking you a question and I'm going on and on. Some interviews like to talk, right? So, I'm talking, I'm saying things, I'm going on and on. I'm asking, instead of asking you a single question, I'm giving you a 4-minute lecture. Don't just sit there. Nod, shake your head, say, okay, acknowledge, listen actively, show some signs that you're actually engaged in the conversation, right? Show some signs that you're actually there with them. Be on video, of course. And if you're not on video, if it's a phone call, just say, yes, I understand, okay, great, okay, fine. Just acknowledge a little bit. Recognize their emotions. They are also human beings, right? If they come back and they go, let's start the interview, take a break. You acknowledge that and say, is it okay? I mean, can we have this interview? I just felt like I just heard you sigh. Is everything all right? It's okay, no? They are also a human being, right? Acknowledge, recognize their emotions. And if they interpret anything you say in a certain way, just accept it. One of my cardinal rules when I teach, especially, is there is nothing wrong that happens in a classroom. Okay, everything that is supposed to happen was supposed to happen, right? It comes from improv acting. When you're standing on theater and you're doing something, whatever happens is supposed to happen. You can't say, "Hey, that was the wrong line." No, on stage, you just go along with it. Go along with it. Stay with the interview. Smita, I love that. Absolutely. Smita Deka, yeah. So read between the lines. Try and really get to what they are asking, right? Try and understand what they are asking. Like actually, this happened to me today. You see these green books on the that's an encyclopedia series actually. I was talking to a client today, and he just pointed it and said, "Hey, what are those?" And I said, and then I recognized that he's trying to say something. So I said, "That's my wife's green encyclopedia series. Why are you interested in them?" I asked him, "Are you interested in them?" He said, "I have the exact same thing." And then we had a 5-minute conversation about that. Try and recognize what they are actually saying, where they are coming from. Engage in a conversation. Remember, an interview is not an exam, right? Unfortunately, I think our schooling system has really drilled into our heads that everything is an exam. It's not an exam, okay? It's an interview, it's a conversation, it's a dialogue. They are here, we are here. They need to hire someone, we need to change something and get a new job. We need each other. Yeah. Right. So these are some ways of joining the panel. Okay. That's number 5 actually. How are things going with you? What's your favorite tip? I'm going to go through these again. I'm going to ask you what your favorite tip so far has been, and then I'll go to tip number 6. Okay. My first tip was do your research. Know your research. Know the company, know the um, team and the role, and know the person. Next. Oops. Sure short way number 2 was be self aware. Be self aware. Know what you are working with and know how you're feeling. Okay. And then sure short way number 3 was feel great. Sure short way number 4 was nail the start. And then I just spoke about join the panel. Okay. That's what we have covered so far. We have covered 5. I know there's going to be a lag in the live session. So I'm asking you to say something in the comments, but it's going to take you a minute to figure it out and then come back to me with your responses because of the lag in the stream. So I'm going to carry on, but whenever I see them in the comments, I'm going to comment on it. I've asked you to tell me which among those 5 is your favorite tip so far. Okay, take a break of water, get a sip of water. Right. Ravi says nail the start is his favorite. You know, there's nothing like a good start. There is this behavioral effect. It's a bias. It's called halo or horns effect. If you get a halo at the beginning, it's called halo and horns effect. Google it. If you do a good start, you'll have a halo. People will like you even more. They'll want to see you succeed. Join the panel, Suraj. Fantastic. Interview is not an exam, Panchila. Yeah, it's not an exam, is it? I don't know why we behave like 4-year-old, 10-year-olds. I mean, my son is going through exams. I'm telling my 11-year-old itself, it's only an exam. It's okay, chill. But I don't know. In our 30s, 40s, we're still looking at interviews like they are exams. They're not exams. Absolutely. Sugandhini, join the panel. Yeah, join the panel. Think like them. What do they actually want? Rajdeep says being self-aware. Know where you stand. It's the foundation of everything, right? In an interview, if you're going, I'm not sure, I know this. No, no. Do I want this? Do I not want this? What I bring to the table, my strengths, my weaknesses, know everything. Yeah. Feeling great, yeah, Madhusudan. You got to work on your like emotions and like get like really positive about this. What's the point in going into an interview feeling like, yeah, I don't know. Feel good, right? Get there. Ajay, yeah, nail. Be self-aware. Yeah. Nail the start. Yeah, get to 60-second intro, Rohit. Grab it. I mean, make it. And I'll tell you what. You'll start with 2-3 minutes. I think maybe when you begin, but the more and more you practice saying it to somebody or saying it to yourself, you'll nail it in 30 seconds. 4 bullet points. You're done. And those 4 bullet points, anytime and that's why it's called an elevator pitch. You meet someone in the elevator, you say hi before the elevator reaches the fourth floor. You're done. Right? That's what it is. Yeah, Satishri, absolutely. Mock interviews are fantastic. Feel great, Mohit. Yes. Panchila says feel great as well. Join the panel, Nitish. Oh, sorry, Nitesh. Sorry. Um, when you turn 43, you start wearing glasses and you can't read because I've got like reading glasses and it's all over the place. Sorry, Nitesh. Shashank, overthinking. Yeah, you got to get over overthinking. No? Overthinking is a huge issue. All right. So I'm going to go to 6 now. Thank you. Thank you for that feedback. It's nice to get feedback. Same thing with interview practice. Get some feedback before you go to an interview. Get feedback. The same thing I did for this session as well. I kind of outlined it and got some feedback. Is this what you want to hear? Is this the right things to say? You'll never really know. Okay. But why not? Sure shot way number 6. Be in charge. This is again a little related to the fact that interviews are not exams. Okay. Be in charge. Be in charge. What do I mean? Jack Welch supposedly said, control your own destiny or someone else will. So when I say be in charge, I mean do whatever you can to lead the interview. Don't follow. When you're asked the first question, you have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to set the tone and set the flow for the rest of the interview. You have that opportunity. Whatever you say, they're going to build on. So, do you know what you're going to say? Don't follow the interviewer, lead the interviewer. Change your mindset. They need you, right? They also need to place that role. Have things that you want to say in the interview. Know your top 5 things that you absolutely definitely want to say. I've come to you with 10 things, right? What are your 10 things that you definitely want to say to the interviewer? Know that and lead the interviewer with that, right? Lead the interviewer with that. Don't be defensive. Be liked. If anything comes up, don't defend it, but build on it. And don't go on and on and on. Okay, always pause. If they say tell me about yourselves, don't go on for like a 6-minute answer. No? Sorry, you've completely cut me off. If you don't know what to say, pick one thing, finish it, and say what else would you like to know. That's it. Please do not go on 7 or 8 minute rants. If you're speaking more than a minute, that's too much. Pause and say, am I just check with them? Is this what you really want to know? Should I carry on? Check. Always check. Do not go on a 4-minute rant. You've lost me completely. This is even more important in a virtual setting because there's no body language. If the person is fidgeting in the chair, you need to stop. Okay. Own the interview. Don't be owned by the interview. Another soundbite for you. I should start tweeting. Own the interview. Do not be owned by the interview. Control the narrative. Okay. Control the narrative. I can tell you that if you practice this, you will be guiding the interview, not the interviewer. You will be leading them towards things you want to talk about. And they will be curious because you are leading them there. Lead the interviewer. Do not be led. Okay. Don't sit there and say, what is your next question? This is not an interview. Sorry, this is not an exam. Okay. So don't just sit there and say, hey, what's the next question? What's the next question? What's the next question? Lead the conversation. Make it a dialogue. Okay. Now, you might ask me, um, oh, some questions are coming in. Just hold the questions. Okay. Let me finish this one thought and I'll come back to your question, Shankar and Kailash. Um, Here's how, if you're asked a question that doesn't that doesn't really work for you, you don't have a strong answer, maybe it's set upon something you don't want to talk about, respond by taking your time. Ask for some clarification. Is this what you really want to know? Is this what you want to find out? Or give a detailed answer to just one part of the question. Right? Tell me about your experience in sales. Let's suppose you don't have much, and that's something. See, actually, I have done sales for this bit, and I have supported something specific, right? And talk about something very specific that you did, or refocus the question, pivot the question, turn it into a discussion. You can even ask them, "Oh, you are asking me for sales. Why is it important to you? What is it that you're looking for?" Just ask them back. And then they'll say, actually, I want to know your sales experience because I need to do X, Y, Z. And you go, yeah, I can do X, Y, Z. Or I can do Z and I can pick up X and Y. But just try to turn around the question. Okay. And how do you answer these questions? You cannot prep for every question. There's a million questions they can ask you. You cannot possibly list every question. That is not a good way to prep for any interview. You cannot list down every single question and write down answers. You'll need a book that fat or one of these encyclopedias, right? Instead, ask yourself, what are your top stories that you want to tell them? I told you to know 5 or 10 things about yourself that you want to share. What are your top accomplishments, your failures, your learnings, your successes, your experiments, your best bosses, your worst bosses, your best client, worst client? Write it all up. Write down 20, 30 of these things and pick your top 5. What do I mean by top 5? Top 5 fantastic stories. Top 5 fantastic stories. Okay. And then insert them into the conversation. You cannot think of every single question, but you can think of your top 5 or 10 stories, right? Top 5 or 10 stories. You can. Uh, Now, here's the rub. I want you to just ask me any interview question, open ended behavioral question. Just ask me any question and I will answer it using what we call the STAR technique. Put into the comments any question you want to ask me. I'll just pick one immediately, just in the interest of time. Um, Ask me a question that is behavioral, something about, give me an example of something, or tell me about a time that you did something, things like that. Ask me a question like that, put it into the chat, and I'll pick one and I'll answer it using the STAR technique, which is a great simple storytelling technique that allows you to structure your answer. I'm going to demonstrate it to you now. Ask me a question and I'll answer it. Okay, put a question in the chat, and while I'm waiting for that question, I'm going to carry on, just kind of revising this bit a little bit. What was this about? Be in charge. Be in charge is take control of the narrative. Do not be led by the interviewer. Okay. I'm still waiting for your questions. I'm not sure if you can. Um, ah, I'm waiting for a behavioral question from people. But before that comes, I'll answer some of the questions that you've already asked me. Right, let's go up and see. Where are we now? Shankar Raman. Shankar Raman says, Shyam, kindly clarify as to how you justify joining a totally new industry after a long stint in a particular industry and then again wanting to get back to the home pitch. You don't justify it. You simply talk about it, and say that I did something, I was very curious, I enjoyed it, and I've realized that what I wanted to do, I've gained all this knowledge, and I've gotten exposure to many new things, and then now I seem to want to. I've realized that my I don't know. I don't want to put words into your mouth, Shankar, because I don't know what's going on with you exactly. But I would definitely say that there's no need to justify it. Just be honest about saying that you've picked something up, you liked it, you did not like it, you enjoyed it, you did not enjoy it, you picked up some skills. But if you're coming back to me, to my industry, you better tell me how you have changed. What have you picked up? How are you better? Are you the same Shankar you were a few years ago, or how much ever time you spent in the new industry? If I've known you before, what's different now? Why should I hire you? What has happened with you? How are you different? How are you different? Yeah. That you need to nail. You don't need to justify the move, but you need to tell me why I should hire you now that you're coming back. What is different about you? Kailash is going to interview. Having a job itself keeps you motivated. Issue is when you don't have a job. I know, Kailash, I completely understand. Interviewing without a job is hard, but every interview you get, feel great, stay positive, and my best wishes. Pa-pa-pam. Nice, 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 nice. Questions are coming through. Tell me about a conflict that you've had with your manager, says Madhusudan. Mohammed, why should we hire you? How will we handle your seniors when you're not agreed? Give me an X. Yeah, tell me, why do you want to switch to a domain? I like this one. Madhusudan says, tell me about a conflict you had with your manager. That's a nice one. No? That's like trying to understand how I handle conflict and trying to understand how I kind of figured it out. Right. Okay. So here's a star technique. I'm going to answer this question. Tell me about a conflict you have had. Okay. It's a very good question because I have to tell you a real conflict, right? I can't just make stuff up. I could make stuff up, but then if you ask me further questions, I'll be lost. So don't make stuff up. Okay. Another tip. It's not in my top 10, but don't make up stuff in the interview. Okay. Be as honest as possible. Tell me about a conflict that you had with your manager. Good. Good question. Okay. Here's the star technique. S stands for situation, T stands for task, A stands for action, and R stands for result. Situation, task, action, result. Situation is tell me what the hell was going on, right? What is the situation? Task, what was necessary to be done? A, action. R, result. Okay. Situation, let me see. Conflict. I used to work in this team where we used to set up prices and negotiate prices. Okay. And what was happening was the sales team had gone out and tried to get it at a pretty high discount for the client, and I had to bring it back to my boss and figure things out. But my boss was very unhappy because it was much more discount than we would normally offer. So what needed to be done was we needed to figure this out. My boss was holding his ground on a certain discount structure, but the client required a much deeper discount. So what I did was I tried to bridge the gap. I tried to get the client to understand what our problem was, and I tried to get my boss to understand what the client's problem was. What I did was I did it into two stages. One, I went to the boss and said, see, what we do normally is okay. This is a very special case, and this is going to open up some opportunities for us in the future. So my boss saw that making an exception has a long term benefit. I went to the client, went with the salesperson to the client, and actually told the client, this is way beyond, but we do acknowledge that you are a strategic partner, and we are going to work something out for you, but I want to make it very clear that this discount will not be offered to you in the future. The result of all of this was it actually initiated a fantastic new partnership that exists till today. And there's been a lot of repeat business going into the millions of dollars. Okay, that's my star answer. What's the situation? Keep it short. What's going on? There's a conflict, no? And client conflict. Task, what needs to be done? You need to resolve this. Action I took was, now what are you thinking when I say the action? You got to hear this and go, aha, Sham knows how to negotiate. Sham does this, he does this. So the action has to be the big part of your answer. And the result, don't forget the result. What happened as a result? Big business came. Yeah. Situation and task, keep it short. Action, tell me what you did. Because what am I thinking when I'm listening to your story? I'm thinking, can you do that for me now, please? Can you start some new business for me? So get the interviewer into a space where the interviewer is thinking, what can you do for me? You told me a story, now come here and do that for me. That's where you should leave them. Yeah? That's when you should leave the interviewer. The interviewer should be thinking, what can you do for me now? Yeah? Don't forget the result. That's the outcome. Okay. I don't know. Did you like that answer? Tell me in the chat. Yeah, good answer, not good answer. Whatever. Tell me. Oh, there's so many more questions. I'm going to leave these questions and I'm going to see if I can answer them later in a LinkedIn post because I don't have the time for it today. Situation, questions, transitioning, greatest weakness. Angela, what is your greatest weakness? What is your strength? I would say strength, you should focus on something that is valuable to them. Remember, it is all about valuable to them. Yeah. Weakness, always talk about things that you're overcoming or overcome Weakness is do not make stuff up, and do not say things like time management or I take on too many things. Be as honest as possible. Talk about weaknesses and say you're either you're getting helped, or the fact that you're still working on it and you're getting better. Yeah. Tell them that you've been working on it for a while. You're 50% good, you're 60, 70, 80, and you're getting there slowly, but there's room to go. And you would like to talk to them about what kind of support they can offer you to help you with that. Do not shy away from the weakness. But again, don't make it so basic that you can't be like, I my weakness is negotiation when you're applying for a sales job. Okay, that's not going to work out. All right. Ravi, yeah. You star. This is a simple idea, but do not actually say situation is, task is, action is. No, don't do that. But just have a mental model. Follow that, because whenever we tell stories, we get lost. We just go on and on and on and on. And 5 minutes later, we think, what was going on over there? Why did I bore my interviewer? That was so embarrassing. Happens to me a lot. So pick star, have it in your head, and just follow that technique. Don't do too much on S and T. Do a lot on A. I want to know what you did, and focus a little bit on result to show me, hey, something amazing happened. Right. Kailash says my answer lacked figures. Yeah, in some cases you need figures, some cases you don't. But ensure that you are answering the question. If the question needs figures, you can add them. Perfect. Okay. Next one. Very important. And this will probably be part of your prep as well. Sure short way of nailing your interview. Number 7, line up your questions. Do you have any questions for your interviewer? Really, think about it. Pause and think about it. Last interview, did you go with at least a few questions prepared? Did you? Good questions. There's another quote I picked up somewhere, I don't know where. Knowledge is having the right answer, but intelligence is asking the right questions. That's amazing, isn't it? In an interview, having knowledge is important, but intelligence is also important. Can you figure things out on the fly? Can you ask some questions to me that really matter? And why is this important? It's your final opportunity to prove that you're a good fit. Also, it is an opportunity for you to find out if that role is right for you. You might look at it and go, actually, I'm not sure this is the role I want. Of course, I'm talking about people win jobs already. Last opportunity, right? What do you do? How do you do this? How to choose your questions. Do not ask a question about yourself. What's the pay? What's the in the interview? That can all happen later. Do not ask a question that can be answered with just a quick look at the website. How many places are you based at? It's all on the website. It's there in the about section. If you ask me a question like that, it means you have not done your research. Do not ask a question that has already been answered. That's really frustrating for an interviewer, right? I just told you that. Why are you asking me? That tells me you don't listen to me at all. Do not ask very basic questions that can be answered by looking up at the website. What should you do? You should be strategic in your questions. Ask about something that shows you want to help them, not just yourself. Ask them something that means you are eager to understand their organization and their effort, not something for you to start with. You can get there. You can say, who am I working with? Tell me about the company, and so on, so on, so. But ask questions that makes you want to add value to them. My top 5 questions. Ready? My top 5 questions. My top 5 questions are: how has this role evolved over the last few years? What has been changing? What has been happening? Next, what results would you like in the first month, first quarter, first 90 days, something like that? Third, could you tell me more about the team? 4, could you tell me more about the leadership? What are they looking for? What are they doing? And then what you do is you take it from there and then try to connect yourself. And what is the next few months and what does the next year look like? Yeah. And you can Google this again. You can Google and say, what are the best questions to ask an interviewer? Just go ahead and do that. And there'll be tons of questions. But these are some that come to mind for me. Do not, in the interview, ask things on salary, benefits, vacation, promotions, things like that. That can come later. Let the offer come. You can talk about it eventually. I'm not saying don't ever ask them, but an interview is not the time. The last question in an interview should not be, how long will it take to get me a promotion? You're finishing off really badly there. Yeah. Do not end an interview like that. You can ask later. It's just not the right time to do this. Okay. Now, wow, an hour. This is the fastest hour of my life. Sure shot way number 8. I told you sure shot number 6 or 7, whatever it was nail the start, right? Sure shot number 8 is nail the finish. Nail the finish, yeah? How are you going to finish? Like Usain Bolt or how, right? Nail the finish. And then number 9 and number 10 are what happens after the interview, okay? And I want to leave you with some thoughts on that also. Shashank, I couldn't agree more with you. If you're a good storyteller, and I agree with Kailash that numbers are important, but storytelling is an art. And what are you doing in an interview? You're telling a story about yourself, aren't you? You're just telling people about you. You need to be better at it, right? You need to practice it. It's not if the CV is everything you have with the numbers and everything, then the CV is enough, right? Why would they ever want to see you? Yeah? Learn to tell the story. It's very important. Apapa. Wow. Madhusudan asked me a really tough one, yeah? It's so tough that I can't ignore it. Let me put Madhusudan's question here and then I'm going to tell you how to nail the finish. Madhusudan says, could you talk about a situation where your manager wasn't necessarily correct in his judgment, but you know it? How do you handle it? Do you know a situation where your manager wasn't necessarily correct? That's a very specific question. I hope everything is all right with you, Madhu. How do you handle it when you know your manager is wrong? Just sit down and talk. I think there are too many things that happen in our lives that happen because we just don't sit down and work things out. If you feel they are wrong, you need to have a conversation. And I don't mean that you go take your phone and throw it at somebody and say you are wrong. That's not what I mean by that. What I mean by that is try and understand where they're coming from, why they're doing certain things. And if you disagree, to be honest, I don't know whether there's any right or wrong. Right or wrong, we decide in the future. In hindsight, we know things are right or wrong. We never know before we do anything. If you disagree with somebody, bring it out and have a clear conversation and face the conflict. There's huge number of conflict resolution ideas that can be handled. Most importantly, try and understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. And if you completely disagree, then put it out there and have a chat. Very important. I think a lot of our problems arise because we don't sit down and actually talk about it. So coming back to nailing the finish, sure shot way number 8. Nail the finish. How do you nail the finish? How do you nail the finish? Starting strong is good, but finishing strong is epic. Yeah. Why do you need to finish well? There's an entire piece of psychology around behavioral science. Daniel Kahneman talks about the speak end rule. You take a movie, okay? And I'm not saying an interview is like a movie, but imagine you're at a movie. After you finish the movie, what do you remember? Generally, you remember one or two like jokes or like fight scenes or whatever, and then you remember the climax, how it ended. Very few of us remember how a movie started. Actually, we generally remember how it ended, but very few of us will ever remember the first scene of a movie. Yeah, think about it. In the same way, when the interviewer leaves, they need to think and feel that you are the right candidate. What are you doing? Even if we think we are all rational beings, the ending, the last words that you say, and this is something I used to get a lot of feedback on when I used to speak, try and do more standing up on stage and speaking, is I used to swallow my last words. I used to say things like, "Hi guys, it's Sham, right to be here." I lose the last bit of my sentence. The finish is very important. Nikhil, you're so true. You're absolutely true. Finishing is the actual takeaway for the interviewer. You're absolutely right. How you finish is the only thing they'll remember, right? Very clearly. It'll all be there in the subconscious, but the real thing that they will remember is the last bit, right? So, how do you finish the interview? Again, stay upbeat. Even if you feel the interview was terrible, finish by saying, "Thank you so much for having me here. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to hearing from you." Finish like that. Do not say, "Okay, thank you, bye." No. Reinforce your positives. Try and finish by saying, "Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. I know that I, really enjoyed talking to you and sharing my strengths in A, B, and C. I look forward to hearing about you because I know that there seems to be a good match between what I bring to the table and what you're looking for in the role." Ask if you can ask a few more questions. Stay curious. Leave them thinking, he may not have all the answers, but he's bringing the sense of curiosity. Yeah. Express enthusiasm about the future. Don't think about the past. And even if you think you did badly, do not mention it. Do not mention something like, I'm sorry, that answer I gave was not very good, was it? No, don't do that. Then you are failing yourself if you think it's an exam. Yeah, don't do that. Thank them, finish on a positive note, and be confident and upbeat as you finish, because that is how they will remember you. When they go away, the last thing you said and the last few minutes of your interaction, they will remember. They will not forget it so soon. Yeah. In the same way as I asked you to prepare a 60-second pitch to start your conversation, practice your 60-second. And here's a template. Thank you for blah blah. I enjoyed blah blah. It has been a great experience too, blah blah. I look forward to hearing from you, etc. Goodbye. And finish with a goodbye or thank you. Have clear finish, last two words. Okay. Ooh, I like that. Stay in their heads, Smita. Yeah, exactly. How, find a way to actually make yourself memorable. It's all well and good to say that I'll let my CV speak for myself. But then why do you go to the interview then? You're there the interview, right? Physically, virtually, whichever way it is. Make yourself memorable. Let them remember you when they finish the interview. Okay. Wow. It's been an hour. Let's do a round of what you'll do after. And then I'll see if I can answer some more questions. Okay. So, sure short way number 9 to get hired or nail your interview is what happens right after. What do you do right after the interview? Immediately after you finished interview, you're at the office, you leave, or you're on a call, the call ends. What do you do? Number one thing, what do you do? You send a thank you note, right? And when do you write this thank you note? Immediately after the meeting? No. You have something drafted. You have a template. Draft it ready, keep it ready. Yeah. Keep it upbeat. Remind them of what actually happened. Remind them, oh, in the interview, I remembered this, and this was fantastic. Tone should not be too formal or ingratiating. Don't make it ingratiating. What does ingratiating mean? It means not to suck up, basically. Okay. Be direct, be straight, be professional. Not too formal, not too sucking up either. After the interview, update your draft with anything that might have been happened in that interview and send it to everybody maybe a few hours later, 2 3 hours later. Not too late, not the next day, same day for sure, but not like 10 minutes later, because it should feel like you took some effort to write it, right? And you should take an effort to write it, but you'll have a draft so you can cheat a little bit. Okay. Send it a few hours later. Call the recruiter. If you have had that relationship with a recruiter and you've been talking, call the recruiter or whoever else helped with the process. Yeah. Preferably the same day. Late evening is okay. Or if you're on WhatsApp or whatever it is. Again, short thank you message. And have one or two pieces of feedback for them ready, because professional, very good recruiters will ask you, how did it go? And don't fumble and say, I don't know, I think it was okay. That's not an answer. You are a professional, they are a professional, they've called you for an interview, they want to know how the interview went. You say it was good. It was a good discussion. The interviewer asked me a few questions, I got some answers. I still have some questions for you, but maybe we'll get a chance to talk again. Don't be too critical, but be honest about it. This is not a chance to send some critical feedback survey on the interview, but be honest. If you liked something, great, tell them. If you did not like something, be honest. But again, don't make it sound like it was a disaster experience for you. Well, if it was, then if it was, but you need to tell them. But if you are interested in working for them and it was a something small, then tell them that it would be nicer, but that was not a problem at all. It was fine. Draft template. I don't have a draft template for thank you note. I think you could probably find one, Panchila. Just kind of Google it. I'm sure there's loads of people who write up templates on resume and interviewing websites. Another thing that a lot of clients ask me is, should I share with people what happened in the interview? Okay, it's tempting to tell people about it, right? But hold off on a little bit. Don't share experience on social media and all immediately. Wait for some time. My advice is to wait. You'll have enough time to announce it and all of that. Just hold off. Yeah. And if you can, just write down a few things very quickly. I don't know if you're like, you'll have all these kind of little notebooks lying around everywhere. I mean, I just kind of quickly jot things down and write it down. Yeah. What did you learn? What can you do better in the next interview and all that. So this was right after the interview. What happens? Okay. Thank you for being here, by everyone. By the way, there's like 60 of you here with me still, which is unbelievable. Thank you. I hope this is being useful. If it is being useful for you, I'd like to hear. Just drop me a message later. And if you're going to hold on with me for another 5 minutes, I'm going to tell you about something I'm doing about interviews that you might be interested in. Okay. Um, Sure shot way number 10 is soon after. What do you do soon after? What do you do soon after? When do you follow up? Should you wait a day? Should you wait 2 days? I don't know. When did they say they'll respond? If you haven't heard from them, then maybe follow up a couple of days later, maybe 5 days maximum. Don't send like WhatsApp messages and all that. Especially on weekends. Don't do on weekends. Send the email about 9 a.m. in the morning. Hopefully they'll pick it up. If you have some updates, things are going on, then you can make some exceptions. Yeah, make it more of a reminder than a chase up. Don't say, "Hey, you said you'll tell me in 3 days what happened." Send more of a reminder. Yeah, just want to remind you, I've been waiting. Is there anything you need from me? Let me know. Yeah. Remind them of positives and all of that. And I have these samples and all these things. But anyway, I'll be doing a boot camp on interviews very soon. So if you're interested, you can sign up for it, and I can let you know how to get those things. Um, Interviews will come and go. Okay, and I want to leave you with just this one thought actually. Interviews will come and go. They'll keep coming. They'll keep going. Um, if they don't hire you today, they might call you again next time. Yeah, they might find you. They might call you again next time and ask you to come and attend an interview again. Who knows? World's very small. Time moves very quickly. So being memorable, I think, in an interview is very important. I think it's probably even more important than landing the job. Being memorable. I would like them to think that they can call me the next time something comes up, rather than them thinking, done, I never want to see this guy again. I don't want that. I want to be memorable, right? So even if you don't make it in this round, maybe something will come up next and it'll work out for you. Okay. Madhusudan, fantastic question. How do you see that following up as being as you're desperate? Could this go against your negotiations in future? Do not be desperate. That's what I said. Be professional. Following up is not, hey, I've been waiting for you. I've been holding off. Please tell me. Let me know. No. Follow up once. Follow up twice. If they don't come back to you, you know what's going on. Yeah. So you have to follow up, but do not be desperate. Do not follow up like 4 messages every day and things like that. That is just unfortunately for them. They should come and tell you that they have a responsibility to tell you what is going on. But if they don't tell you, what can you do? How much can you push it, right? You can write angry posts on LinkedIn about it, and maybe they will see. But I don't do that. I'd like to resolve it directly, and see if I can. And to your other questions also earlier, if there's a conflict, you need to address it with the person that you're having the conflict with. So if there's a conflict with the recruiter, you need to talk to the recruiter. If there's a conflict with your boss, you need to talk to the boss. So anything, whatever happening is, um, let's keep it professional at every time. That's not a tip really. That's just an underlying theme. Okay. So I'm going to just summarize and then ask you again, which sure shot way is working out best for you. So sure shot way number 1 was do your research. Sure shot way number 2 was be self-aware. Sure shot way number 3 was feeling great. And then it starts into the actual interview itself. Sure shot way number 4 is nail the start. 5 is join the panel. 6 is be in charge. 7 is line up your questions. 8 is nail the finish. 9 is right after send a reminder. And soon after, maybe a week, one more reminder. And after that, I hope you hear very good news, folks. It's been great being here with all of you today. It's definitely been the fastest 69 minutes of my life. Thank you for joining me this Wednesday evening. I hope this has been useful to you. Due to feedback from clients, from well-wishers, I've been told that these tips have been useful to people. And I know there's so many more questions that I have not been able to answer. It's really hard for me to go through all of them. If you are interested in knowing more, I am designing a workshop, which I'm not sure when I'm going to launch. But again, it depends on if you would if you are interested in. I'm just putting it into the comments. If you're interested in a boot camp, then please express your interest. at this link that I'm putting in. It's just a Google form saying I am interested. That's all it is, and your contact, so I can come back to you whenever I put this thing together. It'll be based loosely on what I have done today, um, but it'll be more of a workshop, a 2-3 hour workshop. I haven't decided, but if that is of interest to you, feel free, fill up that form, and I'll get back to you whenever that gets into shape. Um, thank you, Divyadeep. Thank you, Shankaraman. Thank you, Madhusudan. Um, it's fantastic being here. Wow. I just realized I've been talking nonstop for 71 minutes and I'm a little tired now. So, thanks, folks. I'll pause here. If you have any questions, comments, please direct message me. Fill out that form if you'd like to. If you're interested in a bootcamp that I'm putting together for maybe next month, or if you have something urgent that you need, and if you are in need of anything, pop me a direct message on LinkedIn. I'll see what I can do. Thank you for being here, and goodbye.